All right, hello, and welcome back to Real Seekers. I'm your host, Dale, the Real Seeker, and this is sort of an announcement, just a short announcement show in terms of Real Seekers and some recent changes that have gone on. So far, I haven't made this announcement to you guys, to my fans on Real Seekers yet, although I have announced it on the Faith Unaltered podcast. I just want to make you familiar with change. So, in the past, look, I've been doing podcasting for 6 years, ever since I converted in May of 2018. I believe it was 2 months later, in July of 2018, when I started up Skeptics and Seekers with the atheist David Johnson, and we started doing podcasting ever since then. And ever since then, I've always been resistant to asking for money because I had enough money on my end to cover the bills and that sort of thing. I didn't have the need to be asking for money. And because of that, it was really important. Look, we're engaged in evangelism. I want all my material, my best knowledge. Look, instead of publishing a book, I'm going to put out my book for free for people. And on the Shroud of Turin, or my 200-page write-up on the cosmological argument, all my shows and that sort of thing. I want it to be freely available. I don't want anyone to encounter what I did during my religious research phase, and they're prevented from reading a paper or getting an answer that they desperately need because it's blocked by a paywall and they need to fork over some loot to get this. So I was very inspired by people like Dr. Gary Habermas or Tony Costa or Mike Licona and Sean McDowell and all those great Christian apologists who like to, at the very least, to some extent, freely share their research, their information to help save souls, because that is what is most important. At the end of the day, why are we doing this podcast? Why am I doing this podcast or any of this research? It's not to make me look smart. It's not to, make me feel good or something like that. It's, at the end of the day, it's to help save souls, to help advance the kingdom of Christ. And I love it when people like Gary Habermas, they would make chapters, sometimes entire books, for free for people, or at the very least, they would send stuff to people by email when they realize, hey, you're a real seeker, you really need answers. The heck with making a quick buck. I'm going to send you the information for free. And I've always felt that's important. That's why everything on Real Seekers is always available for free, equally to all, and that sort of thing, at least when it comes to Christian apologetics and evangelism. Now, for 6 years, that's been great. I've never taken a single nickel from anyone, never needed it, and that sort of thing. And however, the situation is changing now. I am at a point where I do have a secondary motivation. I would like to, if possible, start making some money, at least some supplementary income and that sort of thing. If you guys are willing to help out, whatever you can, and help out the ministry. Now, that said, okay, well, am I a sellout? Have I, if I don't get the money, is Real Seekers finished? Are we not going to be doing that? No, of course not. So the good news is, again, my primary goal is advancing the kingdom of Christ, even at my expense. And, because of this, there are some things I can't do with Faith Unaltered that they're planning to do. Or, Caleb Jackson asked me to write a chapter and publish his book. And I asked, well, can I post it up for free? If the answer was no, okay, then I'm not going to do it. And I've had offers from academic publishers to publish a book on the Shroud, for example. And again, because there was an exclusivity clause in the contract, I said no, because money is less important than having my material out there for free. So the good news is, when it comes to Real Seekers content, even though I'm asking for money, it's getting the content won't be contingent. All the shows that I post up for Real Seekers will be available for free on YouTube and that sort of thing. You don't have to join Patreon or something like that to give it to me. It's solely, I see it as kind of a donation thing. Hey, if you want to help me out on top of getting this, great, you can provide me that. I'm set up ways for you to provide me that, but it's not going to prevent you from seeing material. And I'll explain a little bit, because on Patreon you have to set up tiers. So I'll explain a little bit about what I've had to set up as an idea. But the bottom line is everything will be eventually made for free when it comes to Christian apologetics and evangelistic materials. And I feel very strongly, even though that hurts me and perhaps hurts my ability to raise money because why should I pay for it? I'm going to get it for free anyways. Okay, fine. But this is for people that have a little extra and they feel they can help me. So that's great. But no one will be prevented from getting access to my apologetics material. I just feel very strongly about that. So, yeah. And that's why one of my ideas, I'm actually working on publishing a book so I can make some money from that. It's going to be on the Shroud of Turin. But yeah, even there, it's going to be available for free on my blog if, just in case people, I don't want it stuck behind a paywall or something. So I've opted for self-publishing rather than publishing through a company whereby you might get an exclusivity clause in the contract and be prevented from sharing my best research on the Shroud with people. No, I won't do that. Okay, so anyways, forget about that. What have I set up? So let's take a look at that. So let me share my screen here. On my Real Seekers YouTube on the homepage, you'll notice I've set up a Linktree link and 3 more links right here, right? So if you click on my Linktree, that's where it has everything. Tree.ee/Real Seekers, and it brings you. You just click it, and it brings you automatically to my Linktree with all my sources. So it has a link to my YouTube, a link to my blog, where I post up free scholarly papers, materials, my books, my chapters, stuff like that. Everything available for free there in terms of scholarly papers related to my show. Here are the 2 new things, right? So in the first place, I've set up PayPal, and PayPal was most important to me because that gives you the flexibility. So if you click it, it'll bring up, let me click PayPal, and then it brings up, okay, Dale Glover at Real Seekers, and if I have my old Jerusalem logo, right, with Real Seeker Ministries, so that's how you'll know it's me. And PayPal is great because, hey, if you want to do just a one-time payment, you can in as much as you want or as little as you want. And you can do, if you want to do more than one payment, you can do that. PayPal gives you total control. And it's also much better than YouTube. So I was considering going on YouTube. Obviously, Faith Unaltered has done that, and hey, they're raising a heck of a lot of moolah on YouTube. And not to mention the ad revenue. It bugs me. YouTube plays ads on my thing. Ads aggravate me, but they play it on there, so they're making money off of my videos. And when you become a partner, you can make money off that ad revenue. I was kind of shocked at how much Faith Unaltered is making in ad revenue on their videos, and obviously they're bigger than me, but nonetheless, I figured, well, if they're going to play ads, I might as well make a cut on that because they're playing these annoying ads regardless of whether I'm in the partnership program or not. But YouTube really is a ripoff. First of all, they take 30% off of you right away, right? Other places, Patreon and PayPal, are much more reasonable. But secondly, the restrictions that Faith Unaltered goes, it's just too restricting for my ministry, right? So, for example, because I'm not making money off YouTube and everything's free, they don't pay attention to me in terms of copyright stuff. Like, I can play videos, longer clips of videos to give better context. It's more conducive to an education and information providing session, and I find that's better for my ministry. So I've said the heck with YouTube. I'm not going to join them, even though I'm qualified to do so. And that's why I've always could have resisted them in the past. But okay, great. Here are some other options. PayPal is another option for you. And again, it's totally in your control, as much or as little as you want, as often or as not as often as you want, even if you just want to do a one-time payment. So that's PayPal. So the next is my Patreon. And so with Patreon, you have to do tiers, right? So again, Real Seekers, and just go to patreon.com/Real Seekers if you wanted to enter the link directly. So far, I've just posted up 6 posts, but I came up with 3 tiers. Okay, so these prices are in Canadian, and they do that, but my Real Seekers tier is just $5 a month, American. And this is kind of my basic tier, right? Like, so this is where I'm going to be posting up my Real Seekers content and videos and stuff like that. And all of which you can get fully on YouTube for free, and that sort of thing. So again, it's, if you want to help me out and you can afford $5 a month, join this tier. But you're not going to be, it's not like, oh, if you don't join it, you're missing out. No, you'll get it for free on YouTube regardless. Now you will get some benefits. Obviously, I'll give you a verbal shout out on the end of the show and say, hey, you're a Patreon, give you credit, or special mention, stuff like that. And occasionally I might have early access to a special Real Seekers podcast or something like that. So the second tier, this is in American, it's $12.50 per month. Again, I call this the Real Seekers Plus tier. That seems to be within the range, the lower end of the range of people's middle tiers, from what I was researching and stuff like that, what other Christian apologists have done. So this is going to include everything from the Real Seekers tier. However, it may also include early access to bonus Real Seekers content. So okay, maybe you can reach out and say, hey, I want you to review this debate, or give a reaction video to this debate, or maybe give a commentary on this or that. Or, the first video I posted up is I looked at the very first podcast I ever did, and I did a review of that kind of thing. So yeah, what are my thoughts now on the very first podcast I ever did back in July of 2018 on the Skeptics and Seekers podcast. And okay, for the Real Seekers Plus tier, I did a kind of a review, like, oh, what are my current thoughts about that as we listen to it. And the thing here with Real Seekers Plus, because it's, again, evangelical or Christian apologetics related material, I'm not going to make it Patreon exclusive. Again, I'm just hoping if you want to help me and you can afford it and you're willing to do it, and you don't have a better cause to give to. Obviously, if you've got like charities that are helping people or giving to your church, those come first and stuff. But if you do have the extra loot and you can afford to be a part of the Real Seekers Plus tier, great, grand, and groovy. And a bonus, you will get early access. Again, I feel strongly that Christian apologetics and evangelical material, I want it to be available for free. And that's why I've opted for the early access option, so that, yes, if you can't afford to give them money, you won't miss out on potentially helpful material from me, or knowledge from me in terms of my thoughts. That will eventually go up on my YouTube and be available for free, just in time. So that's where I've kind of worked out that. My final tier is the Real Seekers Beyond, and this was really Tyler Fowler's idea. So I thank him for giving me that idea, because obviously to make money, given my kind of principles of wanting to make Christian materials for free to everyone and not restrict anyone's access, Tyler was kind of like, well, what if you want to have a Patreon exclusive feature? Maybe you could teach like secular philosophy and that sort of thing. So, for example, I have a master's in philosophy, and I taught certain philosophy courses. Right now, Tyler is actually my student. He's interested in me teaching my critical thinking and basic logic course, which was a first-year university course that I taught at a secular university. And I'm going through that basic logic course, and I'm hoping in time, if people join, right. So far, no one's joined, but when people join, or with Tyler and that sort of thing, I'll try to find ways to make it interactive too. Like maybe I heard there was some ways to make it so that, okay, you can interact with your audience and have a meeting, and okay, great. Maybe students want to take a class or something like that and ask questions, or you want to meet up with me or make suggestions and whatever, right? So there's certain things that I can offer there related to it. But the basic idea, the Patreon exclusive stuff, is that I'll be teaching secular philosophical content that's not necessarily related to Christian apologetics. And right now, I'm going through my critical thinking and logic course for Tyler Fowler, because that's what he really wanted me to do as my first series in this tier. But obviously, after that, I've taken a heck of a lot of philosophy courses, both at the undergrad level and at the grad level. As a master's student, I've taught courses at the undergrad level and stuff like that. I've taken lots of philosophy courses where I can provide my expertise and provide that material, and it's a cheap way. So that's $20 American. It's only $20 per month. I think that's fair. Again, for a third tier, that seems to be in the ballpark of what others ask for their third tier, maybe on the higher range. But again, for providing you a full accredited secular university philosophy course for a fraction of the price, obviously it's not an accredited thing just learning from me, but you're still learning the same educational content, even if you're not going to get a degree afterwards. So I think $20 a month is a reasonable ask for, the value that I'm presenting in that course. So again, if that's something that interests you, taking secular philosophy courses, then yeah, please go ahead and join. So I think that's it in terms of the new changes to my in terms of the announcement here, with the new goal of asking for money. Like I said, Real Seekers will continue as long as I can, whether I make a single nickel or not. And I do this for God, for you guys, and for myself as well. I mean, everyone matters, and I think we all benefit. So yeah, whether I make a single nickel, as long as I've got an internet connection and I'm healthy enough to do it, I will always do it. And my Real Seekers content will be free for those who need it. That said, I am at a point where I could use a supplemental income of anything would help, and that sort of thing. And obviously, same as Tyler Fowler, like I would love it if I could make this like a full-time job. Okay, great. That would be awesome. Serving in the ministry full time and taking care of my worldly needs, like paying bills and stuff like that. That would be awesome. I'm a long way from that. I know that I've only got like 1,000 subscribers and stuff like that. So I'm not expecting anything like that. I'm just, at this point, anything you give would be helpful. So if you can afford it and you're willing, thank you very much. Please do that. And if not a problem. I understand money's tight. I myself can't afford to donate to others' causes even though I think that they're very worthy and that sort of thing. So I reserve my giving to certain charities and to my church. So I totally understand if you're the same way. But yeah, I just wanted to announce it that you now have the capability of donating to help me, either as a one-time thing or as much as you want, or if you want more organized content where you pay a fee on a regular monthly basis, then I've set up Patreon as well with 3 different tiers for you. So that said, thank you very much. Okay, shoot. Yeah. Another thing just that will be new going forward, is that I've set up certain banners, a couple banners, right? So only one that's okay. So I've got this banner, Welcome to Real Seekers. It's just talking about my free blog with all those scholarly sources. So I might play that during an episode. And also this one in terms of the sales pitch. Here, thanks for watching Real Seekers. Real Seekers is listener supported. Please help support my ministry with PayPal or Patreon, whatever you want to do. And then I just provide the link. So I've decided I'm gonna for each episode or during episodes, I'm just gonna play that because I know you have to remind people to do it. I don't like. I kind of cringe when YouTubers are always asking for money. Like I don't ask. Oh, subscribe, like, and give me your money every time. I don't like doing that. And it just comes across as annoying and always pestering people and stuff like that. So that's why I've set up the banner just to kind of during the show. I'll just do that to give that quick reminder that I have these things available. But yeah, I'm not going to be constantly saying like, oh, and remember, give me your money. Remember, I want money from you guys. That's just not my style. So I think the banner option is a good way of, yes, Tyler and David have grilled it into my head that you have to remind them every time. But at the same time, I don't want to be annoying about it. And I'm not saying they're not annoying. No, like obviously all the YouTubers do it, and I get it. If when it comes to business, you have to do that because you have to remind people, get it in their minds. There may be first time listeners and stuff like that. But it's just my kind of personal thing. I feel, I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel proper about constantly on every show saying, hey, give me money. So, okay, I've set up the banner and that will take care of that, hopefully. So with that said, yeah, thank you guys so much for all your support in terms of subscribing to the channel and watching videos and providing great comments and stuff like that. I appreciate that. And yeah, with that said, that's the Real Seekers sales pitch done and over. And from now on, look forward to great substantive content from now on. So, all right, thank you very much.